Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and welcome back to my Snare Drum of the Week series. This will be episode 5 of season 2, and today we're featuring the A&F Rude Boy snare drum. So this is a really fun drum to play. It's a beautiful drum to look at, I think, anyway. We'll talk about that more in a minute. These are made in Austin, Texas, I believe. And this is the brass, the raw brass version. Pretty much everything on this drum is brass except for the throw off. So the drum has 8-inch snares here. Okay, there won't be any snare beds or anything like that. It's very basic, but these drums are kind of expensive. This drum right here, I think it retails for about $720 at the moment. So they're pretty pricey. As far as lugs, it's got 6 lugs, and it is a 10x3. There's other versions of the drum that are larger. This is the smallest one they make. As far as heads, they ship with these Remo heads that are custom made for them. I believe this is an ambassador on top and an ambassador snare on the bottom, which would probably be a special order to get a resonant head that's 10 inches. And as I said, these are their proprietary A&F. This is an 8-inch snare here for the 10-inch drum. Now the throw-off is a little bit different on these drums. The way they work, there's not a lot of adjusting. So that's it. Okay, makes a little click there. So if you're recording and you want to turn it on and off, so I've used this drum for recording, I'll put a little bit of padding there. So when I do this, you don't get that click. Okay, you can put it here on the strainer as well. Now the way it's attached is just snare string that's kind of thick, and they're tying these knots, and I'll put it next to this camera here so you can see it. So you never really get the snares really tight because there's not a lot of adjusting. You can adjust it on this side. These are locking detented butt plate here, and it had the knots, but I basically tied a regular knot here across like I would do on, a regular snare drum, a Ludwig Super or something like that. And that got it a little bit tighter. So don't expect to get snare response like you would on the Garibaldi snare or the Sonar snares that I've shown, the piccolo snares that I've shown on this, in this series on this channel. You're not going to get that. It's always going to be a little bit loose. Now the snare drum, for its size, is pretty heavy. It weighs about 7 pounds. The regular size drums, I consider regular size like 14 by 6.5 or 14 by 5, are very heavy because of all of this brass hardware. And I've played those. They're very loud drums, very ringy. I owned a few. I sold them over the years because I have other things I prefer. But I really love this little drum. It's actually my favorite drum that they make. I have a giant, I guess they call it a shotgun snare or something like that. It's, I believe it's an 18-inch snare. I'll feature that in a separate video. That thing's really cool too. Sometimes I'll use that for overdubs for a big giant snare sound. I did one video a while back that I used both of these snares when I first got them. Been several years, and I'll reference that here and in the description so you can check that out. So what we'll do, we'll go over to the drum set now. I'll give you a little tour of this real quick with my circular pad here. You see the little leather pieces under the lugs and the plate. So we'll go over to the drum set and we'll play this. One thing you got to remember on the drum kit, you need a special snare stand to mount this thing. So what I'm using is a Pearl low concert stand, and I'm able to sit that in the basket. Now if you sit really high, that's not a problem, but to get this to sit in the snare basket, you've got to crank that basket all the way up. And not all snare baskets will get that tight. The Pearls will. But it ends up being a little higher than usual, as you'll see. All right, so let's go over to the drum set, and I'll show you what this thing sounds like. So here we are at the drum kit. You see how it's got to sit pretty high on this pearl concert stand. The bucket goes all the way up, the basket I should say. And yeah, it's pretty secure, but it has to be a little bit tighter. So we'll play a little for you. So that gives you kind of a wide range of what the drum is capable of. You know, not a huge volume curve from soft to loud, but it can get pretty poppy there, especially with all the rim shots. Now here I'm tightening it up. So one thing I did want to show you, when we turn the snares off, there's a particular setting. If the snares are too tight, you're going to get some residual snare buzz. All right, so that was the trick I was telling you before with tying the knots a certain way when I showed you that earlier. And now with the snares off. So you see when it's tighter like that, the snares are hitting on the bottom. So certain snares do that with a, with a different strainer mechanism. So this is one of them. So you got to be careful. You got to get it just right. So we loosened it a little. Let's see if this works. A little bit, but it's better, right? So then we turn it on. So once we turn it on like that, it's a little more snary. So that's one thing you should be aware of when you're using these drums. All of their drums do that to a certain extent because they all use this particular, or most of them, this particular snare mechanism. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. It's a really fun drum to play. As you see, when I was just screwing around earlier, there's all kinds of cool sounds you can get out of it. So we'll play a little more, and we'll see you next time.